Hello everyone, this is Vishakha Daga, and today with us is Kriti Chachra, who has got rank 89 this year in the UPSC Civil Services. And with that rank, she has not only made us proud, but our family as well. So let's start the conversation with Kriti. Congratulations for your success, and it must have been a proud moment for you. So how was the response in your family, and how did you feel when you got the result?
Thanks a lot for your wishes. And it was extremely a proud moment, not only for me, but more for my family. I still remember how I was scanning the PDF, I searched my name, and I could not believe a double-digit rank. So I downloaded the PDF 2 to 3 times more from the official website, checked it thrice, and then I told my parents. Also, my husband was there with me at that time. He snatched the phone from me to confirm himself. And immediately after that, there was no one around because everyone went to buy sweets and stuff. And everyone was super happy and super proud. I'm extremely satisfied. Now I'm able to sink in my rank. So I'm extremely satisfied and happy with my performance.
I can see that it's really difficult to believe. Even in the prelim stage, we think twice or thrice have we gotten, and final result double-digit rank is a very proud moment. I would want to ask you because this is a rank everybody aspire for, but that it's difficult and there are various setbacks. So I would want to ask a little about your journey, from 10th class to graduation, so that our viewers can have little knowledge about it.
So I did my schooling. I'm in Delhi only, and I'm based in Delhi. Since birth, I've been in Delhi. So I did my schooling from Manavsthali School, Rajendra Nagar. And thereafter, I did my graduation in zoology honors from Hansraj College, University of Delhi. In 12th and 11th, I took PCB, the medical background. And I also did my MSc from University of Delhi, Department of Zoology. And since 2017-18, I have been preparing for UPSC.
You've got a good background actually. And that is also something many of the aspirants are confused about. They think the people who have done IIT or from a very good university in college, they are the one who clear prelims or any other UPSC exams as well. So do you believe in that myth, and how many entrance examination you have cleared before this?
First of all, I would like to say that UPSC itself is an institution that is inviting applications not just from the engineering or the medical background. Rather, it is inviting applications from every and each field that is there in the country. So that itself is a proof that not just IITians, but everyone is eligible, and not just eligible, everyone can clear this exam. DU, JNU, any university, and you can, it's not a matter of what your educational background is. Rather, it is a matter of how well you understand the requirements of the exam, and how much hard work you do, and how much smartly you do that hard work.
So I was asking, does the background matter? Being an IITian or having done graduation from really good university makes a difference in the UPSC exam?
I would not like to believe that there is any differentiation between an IITian or a person who is maybe from my background. Because you get questions, UPSC sets the paper not just for IITians or not just for DU people, not just for Delhiites, not just for rural people. It is a very generalist paper. The prelims is absolutely generalist. You get questions even from the bio field. Yesterday when I was seeing the prelims paper, I saw that bio was asked a lot, and that too in a bit detail. So IITians would not do anything in that biology, rather we would be able to do that better. And similarly in 2020, when there are questions from physics or something from astrophysics, so then IITians would be better at that. So UPSC gives ample opportunity. It gives 100 questions, so that ample opportunity, because we don't need to know all the questions in prelims, mains, or any other stage of the exam. So I would say that it is a generalist exam, and everyone has an equal opportunity and equal chance to clear it.
That's actually important, because many of the viewers are confused about it. But before going into that nitty-gritty, I ask you technical questions and about optional. I want to know when did you thought of preparing for UPSC? When was the first time it came into your head? Was it your own dream or your parents?
It has always been my mother's dream that I become an IAS officer, although she's not in the civil services or any government job, but she always wanted this for me. And this is the dream that I also wanted to carry forward. But personally also, when I was looking at the society around me, when I used to look at the IAS officers who are creating the change that I want to see in the society, that was the time that I also imbibed my mother's dream and wanted to take it forward. I did not just appear for UPSC, I also appeared for Army exam. and I got 6th rank. So that national service has been there.
So that was always a motivation for us, and you were doing good even before this UPSC. That's really nice. Like, let's go into preparation phase now, because it's a journey for you, and you must you might have remembered so many things about it. Beginning with the decision when you prepare UPSC, is that we are given the syllabus in our hand, that there is a static portion, and then you have to prepare newspaper. The moment it is given to us, like first day when we remember, it's a lengthy newspaper, and it's very important to prioritize. So what was your newspaper reading strategy, and how much time were you giving for the newspaper?
Initially, when I started reading the Hindu, which is the Bible for us. So initially it was really not just tough, it was very challenging to get everything that is written in the newspaper, because we hardly read the newspaper in such great detail in normal day-to-day life. So it took a particular period of time, like at least 3 to 4 months it took for me to get regularized with what is written in the newspaper, how to understand what is important, what is not. Initially I used to get stuck at news that is interesting for me, maybe a city news or maybe anything like art, related to art or anything. But then I understood that it is not what is required for the exam, and I should keep my aim and goal in mind. Then the second thing that confuses the aspirants a lot is that we are taking immense time in reading the newspaper. Like mostly people, I see them complaining, I don't want to read the newspaper because it takes 2.5, 3 hours. But I would say that you're not alone. Everyone takes that much of time, at least in the initial phases of the preparation. Anyway, even I used to take 2.5, 3 hours to read the newspaper. And because reading the newspaper is not just reading the news and then forgetting. It is very important to start making notes out of it. So the third thing that I would like to say is that it is very important you rely on your own intelligence, especially for the current affairs, because you have diverse sources for current affairs. You have multiple institutes, monthly magazines, then you have PIB, you have immense sources. So instead of relying on the intelligence of other institutes or any other person, first of all, rely on your own intelligence. And again, if I talk about note making from the newspaper, I would suggest not making notes from the very first day, because when we start making notes on the very first day of our preparation, we'll end up noting down the entire newspaper. We think everything is important. So it is very important that first of all you regularize and you habituate yourself to what is important, what is not, what can be helpful in the exam, and what are the facts for prelims that you absolutely require. Only then you start making notes for the current affairs. I would again like to stress that without notes, it's not possible you remember everything.
Actually, that is one question I want to ask is ki, some people prefer they make notes for the mains, not for the pre, because it says ki when you're preparing for the pre, you have to diversify your resources. So it's difficult to make notes for the pre from the newspaper. So they prefer making notes only for mains from the newspaper. So like, was that the case with you also? Like, or were you making the notes for pre as well?
I would like to be very blunt. This is a shortcut that people take up, that let's make notes for mains, because that is relatively very simple. When you take out a newspaper and you read the editorial, you get to know that you can get a lot of information from that, and you conveniently start making notes out of those points, which are absolutely relevant and important for mains. And then what if you don't clear prelims? So I would like to say that yes, the sources for current affairs especially are very diverse, and this is one of them. So this is the very first source that you should take up. Now let me talk about myself. I segregated my notes for prelims and mains, and I did not leave a single day when I didn't make notes for prelims, specifically prelims from the newspaper. Now, I was absolutely scared. Maybe those aspirants who do not prefer making notes for prelims are not scared of prelims, because this was my 4th attempt and this was the first time I cleared prelims. So I was anyways very scared of prelims. So it is very important that you do not skip any page from the newspaper. And now it is even, what I'm saying is even more relevant after seeing yesterday's prelims. You got 3 questions from sports, which is not even anticipated for a UPSC exam. So even if you miss one page, maybe you miss a question. So prelim specific notes, yes, it is very difficult to point out what fact would be important, and it would take more time that you read every page and you find out a single point that is very important. For example, something changes in the NGT. So that you have to particularly note down, or maybe the monthly magazines also ignore that, but you cannot, because they don't have to write the exam, you have to. So I would say, and I would say it very bluntly again, that it is absolutely necessary that you make prelim specific notes for, and those prelim specific notes can also be utilized in your mains, because when you note down the data points or the trends, that would be helpful in GS3 also.
That actually very true. Like earlier people were saying ki you prepare for pre differently, mains differently, and then interview differently. But there is an integration of knowledge in all three stages. Like from this point itself, I want to ask you is that newspaper information sufficient, or you were substantiating your information with the coaching material as well?
Yes. So again, current affairs cannot be covered from a single source. So yes, I was supplementing my notes with other things also. And two things that I would like to say is that monthly magazine you can take for any institute, because the this coverage is absolutely comprehensive and it is more or less the same only. There is too much competition in the market, so it will be almost same. So you can complement your notes with the coaching materials, so that you do not have to go to the PIB website also. Most of the materials, they'll take stuff from the PIB. That will save your time. And the third thing that a person can do is take up a test series of any mock test series. And what that will do, that will again increase the number of sources. Like one source becomes your Hindu newspaper, the second source becomes your monthly magazine, and the third source becomes your test series. So when you solve questions, it gives you a better remembrance and a better recollection. So these three things I did for the prelims, for the current affairs.
Okay. So like that's very important. And one point to highlight it is giving test paper is very important. So like, and you have been part of the ForumIAS, you have joined the test series. So you know the test series is very important. So first question I want to ask is how many tests you gave before going for the prelim, and how many you expect that a person should have given that amount of tests so that it could have helped in the preparation strategy?
So I'll talk about the test series both for prelims and mains now. Talking about the prelims test series, I was particularly scared of prelims, so I took up a long drawn test series in which I had to appear for tests every week, which was subject wise, and then current affairs separately, and then together, and then full tests. So that was the long drawn process that I took up. It is very important to at least go for at least 20 mocks before the prelims exam. That is because it not only gives you that atmosphere of the exam, but it also helps you in time management. This time again, if we see the paper, yesterday's paper, it seemed for many of the when I talked to my juniors, it seemed for them that there was some issues in the time management strategy. But that can very easily be overcome when you are practicing a lot. So, and again, now mocks sometimes we tend to ignore. We simply do it for the sake of doing it, like for the sake of the questions we do it. But the point is that it should be time bound. If you're not doing a test series in 2 hours, you are simply doing it randomly here and there sitting. That's not very beneficial, because when I sit at home and I solve an exam, that is an absolute, maybe I get a 150 score. But when I sit in that atmosphere, in that time bound process, maybe I'll get not even 100 marks. So it is very important to practice for prelims, which is the key. If I talk about the mains test series, since you said how many tests are important before going for the prelims, so I would like to highlight that before you go for the prelims, you should be absolutely prepared for your mains. Because when you clear the prelims, it is a golden opportunity for you to write the mains. You cannot be lax with that preparation, because that is the maximum number of marks that is carried forward. Prelims is just, you simply have to come in merit, but mains makes your rank or breaks your rank. So you have to be prepared for mains before you go for your prelims. What I did for mains was I joined the MGP program of Forum. That was a 1-year long program, and again it put me under pressure that I have to appear for the tests every week. So I'll tell you the benefit of that long 1-year program of test series. It is that your subtopics are divided. So you get a 3 or 4 subtopics that you have to prepare each week, which is relatively simpler. Like if you are given 10 history books and you were said that within a month, I mean at the end of the month you have to appear for GS1. And now if I give you 1 week time and I give you just 3 subtopics, from modern India I give you probably stuff till 1935. So of course that is better, because you'll have an extensive coverage, you'll have time to make notes, and then there'll be better recollection when you're sitting in the actual exam. You can experiment more. So mains was my strong point, and I appeared for at least 35 tests before the because it was and I didn't want to miss even one test. But if I talk, at least a person should have done subject specific tests and the full length tests. So all in all, at least 20-25 tests a person should appear for the mains. Now, other thing for mains again is time management. If a person is not able to manage his time, and even if a person is missing out on 1 or 2 questions, leaving it, see, it's necessary that you get those bonus points. Maybe that can be your cherry points. Even if you don't know a question and you add some generic points, those 2-3 marks that you get will be a bonus, and that can increase, or it can at least take you 2 ranks forward. So it is very important for both the stages of the exam to practice, not just both stages. For interview also, mocks are very important.
Preparation is must actually. And as you were like talking about strategy while giving mains test series, it's better to divide the whole into few parts and then do it, because by that we don't feel burdened. And that's why it's like many of those who are following us, they ask the question ki what is the way of like utilizing the test series better, because we provide test series, but it's up to the student as well ki how are they using it. So what do you think is the best way to utilize the test series? Because some give just at the end of the like 3 months what they're left with, and some are like they started giving since the beginning itself. Some are like let me just prepare somehow and then in mid of it I'll give. So what is the best way to utilize the test series?
Okay, so I'll go by what I did. I started from the very beginning. Just after my 2019 attempt, I started the MGP program, which was the long one. So I would say that the best utilization of test series is the program that is 1 year long, because that will cover the syllabus completely in its entirety. How to utilize your test series? I'll tell 2-3 points. The first one is that never miss the test. If I say never miss the test, doesn't mean that you don't study week long and simply you go and appear for the test. That is not what I'm saying. Getting into reading between the lines, appearing for the test means you're absolutely prepared for the test and then you go for it. Second thing, when you are given some of the subtopics for preparation, do not leave out on any of the subtopic. For example, there is a subtopic which has diverse sources and you think, okay, maybe I'll tackle it later, sometime later. That is not the correct strategy. That is again postponement, which is not what UPSC demands. So every subtopic has to be covered. This is how you can utilize your test series. The third thing is the experimentation, like innovation. Now, innovation it's not a very objective term. It is subjective. So what I did was that in each test, I changed my strategy to write the answers. Like in one of the tests, I simply used all flowcharts. And then in some of the tests, I used only bullet points or only paragraphs, something like that. So this is what I was experimenting with myself. And then only I came up with one proper plan or one proper strategy, which was mine. So I had imbibed it. Like, for example, when I used to write, I wrote a test, I still remember I wrote a test only in flowcharts. So, because that saved my time a lot and I could complete my test 10 or 15 minutes before. So my mentors told me that this is a very boring test because all questions you are attempting in the same manner, which shows that you are not a diverse person. So then that clicked me a lot and I started a mix and match strategy that you use flowcharts and then you use bullet points and paragraphs. Now, similarly, what I did was I understood what the requirement of each paper is, like GS 1, 2, 3, 4. What I write for a history answer, the way in which I write a history answer, it should be, maybe I'll tell mine, it should be something like a paragraph style. You start with someone's, like Gandhiji's something, you start with something that Gandhiji did, and you write in a paragraph form, you avoid some flowcharts. This is what GS1 requires. But if we talk about GS3, it will require more points. Even if I write 10 points, that will be great, maybe even less. And you include many charts, and flowcharts and graphs. So that is the requirement of GS3. So this test series only helped me identify how I should segregate the demand of UPSC, and my mentors were extremely helpful in this because I myself cannot think of this. I can simply innovate. The third person who is checking my paper can tell me whether it feels good or not. So these are the 3-4 points how a person can best utilize the test series.
And in fact, like one point you really highlighted is that that's how a forum differentiate from other coaching material is that we provide comprehensive mentorship. So, and that's how like even I had this same kind of doubts now when I was preparing, or any aspirant have it. Ki it's like myth in UPSC that you need to draw diagrams. You have to like use the bullet points, but it's not one size fit all strategy. Different papers require different approach, and in that way, mentorship play a very important role in the ForumIAS. So I think this helped you not only JS, even essay paper on other like the other side of the papers that we attempt.
Yes, absolutely. It was helpful for me in all the GS papers. Optional was not at Forum. My optional was not here. So I would have loved to join that too. But yes, in all the GS papers, it helped me a lot, especially in ethics. Because ethics is again not very objective. You have to subjectively define whatever is there, and you have to bring objectivity in subjectivity. Because it is a 10 marker. And if you are writing something about ethics, even if when you are defining ethics, even if I talk to you, what is ethics? Maybe you will give a different answer. I'll give a different answer, and it will not be a lucid answer. We'll miss out on something. So what helped in the mentorship, what helped me in ethics was, like for example, I was writing a case study, and I remember an incident in which there was a dilemma, and I did not answer the dilemma itself. I simply balanced the answer in such a way that the dilemma didn't seem to be a dilemma. I thought I was smart, but my mentor pointed out that you're not supposed to kill the dilemma. You actually have to answer what you are going to prioritize. So this again helped me because I was acting stupidly smart, which was not required. And so mentorship helps in all these things when I don't know something and I'm writing. Of course, when I read my answer, I'll be like, yeah, it's great. I'll give 10 on 10. But when my mentor is reading it, who is so experienced and who has read hundreds of answers, who can compare my answer with someone who's better than me. So that helps a lot. And mentors also used to provide me previous year toppers strategies, previous year toppers quotations and anecdotes. All of that was really helpful for me, especially in the ethics paper.
Then we are grateful to have helped you this way. And one more thing I want to ask you is when we prepare for mains, it's divided in two halves and both are integrated then. The first is you prepare static part and the second is current affairs. And even I've heard from you as well, the ForumIAS is a very good opportunity in terms of like we provide Dipin Sir's classes. So what is your feedback on it?
Dipin Sir classes, I would particularly like to I would take this opportunity to thank him from the bottom of my heart because I joined this current affairs on 18th October before my mains. And I was regretting why I didn't join it earlier. And then I mailed him that, are you going to repeat the previous topics? And unfortunately, there was not much time, neither for me nor for Sir, because we had hardly 2 months. So I selectively also watched the previous videos. So these current affairs classes of Dipin Sir, they are not just current affairs, like they are not just given in a current affair format. Rather, he'll give a proper answer if there is a question on any piece, suppose. So I did not need to go to any other source after listening to his video. I was waiting for the video anyways, and I did not need to go even to the newspaper after that because it was such extensive, comprehensive coverage of each point that was mentioned. He has a strategy of giving an introduction, probable introductions with quotes or with data points, and then he'll be giving examples from either from the world or from other states. I think he works harder than us. So I would really like to thank his hard work, which helped me a lot because that current affairs is not just current affairs, rather he adds the static part also. So we don't have to go back and look at articles or stuff. I still remember one of the topics that he gave in current affairs was our constitution. So he covered our constitution such beautifully in 2 pages because it was the 75th year of our constitution. So for the independence of India. And so he covered this topic. It was really great. I didn't even have to read Lakshmikant after it, at least for the mains answer. So it was really helpful for me in all 4 papers because even some topics of ethics are covered under his classes. And I would like to say that 2 months were more than enough for his classes. I thought that it would be less time and he'll not be able to cover many topics. But very surprisingly and happily for me, he covered almost everything that was required for that year's mains.
I think that's the forte of ForumIAS. We help you prepare, we ease the work for you. And that's the important part I want to talk about is that in mains, there is limited time. and you are burdened with information, especially like you've told us that it was fourth attempt for you, and till we get to the fourth attempt, our knowledge is actually much higher than any other beginner like aspirant is there. And the problem they face is a lot of information, lesser amount of time, and how to consciously like concise it and write it on the paper. Like, did you face this kind of challenge?
Yes, absolutely. It is a very general challenge that everyone faces, and I'm no exception. So, yes, we are burdened with information, but when you say you have less time for mains, I would not like to agree with that, because you don't have just 2 months for mains. You have pretty long time, 7-8 months, which is what I said earlier, that you cannot segregate the preparation. You can standalone prepare only for prelims and then for mains and then for interview. So yes, UPSC demands very different things from all 3 stages, but the beautiful thing is that it is the preparation is interconnected. So you do not have 2.5 months for mains, rather you have a pretty long 7-8 months for preparation for mains. Now, how to concisely write is what is an issue and challenge for not just beginner, even for us. Like even if it was my 4th attempt, the Pinsir only says that from one attempt to the next, your knowledge, your notes are all outdated now. You have to update that. Yes, knowledge base, we can have an edge over the static part, but current affairs anyways is same for everyone, and at least more than 50% of what UPSC asks is all current based. So we are absolutely on the same platform. There should be no myth that beginners cannot achieve it, or fourth timers can only achieve it. No, this is just a myth. Yes, so to concisely write down whatever you've done is the consolidation of the knowledge that you've acquired. Now, suppose there is a book, the NCERT Vipin Chandra. So what is important is that you write down all of that in the form of notes in hardly 5-6 pages. So that at the end of the exam, you do not have to open your books. Rather, you have to, you simply take out your notes and you simply brush them through. So concisely writing down starts not just in the exam, rather it starts from the very first day of your preparation. From the very first day, you have to start making notes in a concise way, and that is the practice also for your mains. So when you have a practice of shortening down so long pages, I mean so many pages of the book into 5-6 pages, you can very simply concisely write your answer in mains also. So that is what I also did. I made notes especially for those parts for which I had diverse sources. I didn't have a particular source from where I could get all information. So particularly for that subtopics, I had prepared notes.
Actually, and that's very important, managing time overall throughout the year and managing time in the examination hall as well, because some question give you only 7 or 8 minute times to write. Then the problem became more severe for those who have small handwriting. So was that a challenge for you as well, ki you had a small handwriting and then you have to like find a strategy where it can be compensated?
See, not very, no, I didn't have this problem, but I had another problem where writing wasn't very good. I mean, it wasn't bad also, but it wasn't very good also. So during this time, in those 2.5 months only, when I had for mains, I changed my handwriting at least thrice. So, and now my handwriting is absolutely different than what it was initially. So, see, UPSC gives you an opportunity to innovate, to experiment, and I would like to say that my journey was more of an adventure. It was more of fun than just writing the exam. So, when I myself, when I was changing my handwriting, and I called up my mentor, I was super excited that I changed it so fast. And then I called up my mentor and said, "Sir, could you please check your WhatsApp? And then, could you please check it in front of me only?" And then he took out my previous paper and then he was like, "You have written this? I mean, I can't even believe that you've changed the handwriting so soon." So if you have that fire within, you can do anything. Even if you have small handwriting and you have to go for something to, I mean, enlarge it or something to change it, that you know it better. And a person must do that, because leaving spaces in the exam psychologically doesn't give a very good effect. Maybe you've written all information and maybe you get a disadvantage of your handwriting and you leave maybe 3/4 of a page. Probably that's not a very good strategy to go about. Yes, you can leave 1/4 or a half page in some of the questions, but if you have very small handwriting, you'll also have time management issues, because you will tend to write a lot. So I would like to say you simply follow me and keep changing handwriting till the time you get to that perfect point where you are satisfied with your handwriting.
I think this is a very important point you made. Ki we at that time, any aspirant is thinking that it's only 3 months. How much of a change can I make? Handwriting is something I'm writing since since I was a kid. How can I change my handwriting? But with this example, I can satisfy, I can conclusively state that this change can be brought and you can bring changes. With that, I'm coming to other part of the mains, and that is essay. Sometime, if you meet different aspirant, and those even who have cleared, they have different strategy. Some are like, it can be prepared, just go prepared. Some are like, I prepared, and that's when I prepared, and in final exam I got lesser marks. So what was your strategy? Is it fine to prepare, or too much of change can actually bring a setback to you?
I would like to say, whenever you're going for a battle, you have to be absolutely prepared. You have to have all the armors. You have to have your swords ready in your hand. You cannot go unarmed. So essay is again, I would like to say that UPSC has restricted our choice, because there are 2 sections in essay, and you have to anyways attempt 1 philosophical and 1 substantial essay. So you have no choice. I, being a science student, tackling philosophical essays was a challenge for me. So now just focusing on your weakness or your challenges won't help. Cribbing and crying about all that won't help. What I did was, I would like to tell you my particular strategy for all those whose philosophical essays are relatively weaker than the substantial ones. So I recognized my strength and my weakness very early during my preparation. So I knew that this is my challenge. What I used to think in my mind is that, Kriti, even if you get a 45 in philosophical and then you manage to get a 90 in substantial, great for you. Now, I don't know how the examiner is going to check, but what this helped me was calm my mind down. I did not overstress then on the philosophical part. Rather, I was focusing on my strengths. Plus, also brushing up or bettering my philosophical sort of essays. But being a science student, I cannot be very perfect like a humanity. I cannot be better than a humanities person who would write a philosophical essay. Now, coming to the technical aspect of essays, first thing that an aspirant should remember is that there is a C difference between a GS answer and your essay. The very first difference, and a very stark one, is that introductions for your GS would be very short, 1, 2, 3 sentences. But for an essay, which is a shock for everyone, it is first essay will be disastrous. So what you end up doing is, in 5, 6, 7, 8 lines, your thinking capacity exhausts, because we're not in the habit of writing so much. We during the preparation also, we become so logical. We'll be talking in points, and even solving family issues, I talk in points, which after saying stuff, I'm like, why was I talking in points? And those people didn't even say anything. So coming from that to essay part, where you should not even make a bullet point or a flow chart, that is a challenge. But then again, UPSC demands that diversity from a person. Yes, coming back, yes, you must be prepared, and you should have your own strategy for the preparation of the essay. There is no hard and fast rule how you should write an essay or anything. But yes, some bullet points are there, that your introductions should be really beautiful. They have to be long. They should not be copied. Right. Suppose 1 year topper says that I wrote an introduction of stories, so you'll follow that. Maybe I don't like writing stories, or maybe I can't make up a story at that point of time. So then I should not copy what the other person is doing. Yes, you can you can see other people's, what they are doing, what they are saying, but then come up with your own strategy only. So what I did was, in philosophical essays, I preferred starting with a quotation. In substantial essays, I again tried starting with a quotation if I didn't get it. So there were many other things: the scenario of the country, the scenario of the world, what right now is going on, or some data points. So I made it a point that if there is, I know how I have to start a philosophical essay and how I have to start a substantial essay, and similarly for conclusion. So for an essay, what maximum you can do is, some things they will be anticipated only, like women's issues. Mostly you will get a question on that. So if you're absolutely confident of that topic, you simply attempt it. Some topics can be prepared sitting home, like environment or women, the economy of the country, which is very important post-COVID now. So some topics, digital education. So all these topics I also had prepared beforehand. Not that I wrote an essay which I learned and then I went and wrote that down, not like that. But yes, I practiced 3-4 essays in that direction, and that was enough. So before my essay exam, I personally wrote 7 to 8 essays, got them evaluated, got many criticisms, and then imbibed all those and improved. So fortunately my final exam ended up to be great, and my marks were also pretty good in essay. So an essay and GS, first thing that you do is segregate the difference between what essay demands from you and what a GS answer demands from you. You cannot be only balanced in an essay. So for example, your essay has a question, is the economy better now? So you can't write a 50-50 no and yes. No, you have to take a stand first. Like you are a balanced person overall, so you will present both the points. But what we do in GS is we do a 50-50 thing. Yes, it is good. Yes, it is bad. No, it is not good. But in an essay, what is preferable is that you take a stand first in your mind and then write in that direction. So it can be a 70-30, 60-40, but I think you should avoid 50-50 thing. Because then again, it says it's again stupidly smart. Because either you agree with something or you don't agree with something. It's not a very good idea to be absolutely neutral for a question like, is economy better? Or are women oppressed in India? So you cannot say yes and no both. You have to be 70-30, that yes, the condition is improving, but still it is bad, like that. So this difference one must understand. And all this will come when you sit and analyze yourself. This is what some points that I have given, maybe a person can analyze even better and come up with really even better points.
Right. So that's where I think test series plays a very important part, because it gives you opportunity to experiment with yourself. So you can come up with new strategy, you can realize this suits you better, and the mistake you think other person is not realizing, it helps you realize that as well, because third person can point it out. So that's very important. And like one question I would ask is, did you attempt any philosophical essay in your?
Yes, it was a compulsion to attempt. So yes, I did attempt. But it was it wasn't any extreme. It was a neutral attempt. It was not that great. It was not that bad. So it was a balanced thing. And anyways, I always pick up topics that I am prepared with. So it was a philosophical essay, but it was something related to compassion, which is what I have practiced also, and I am very sensitive towards the environment and animals, so it helped, my nature helped me. But yes, overall my philosophical essay is not that great, so even my final essay was not that great. It was just okay to fetch me enough marks that it can complement my substantial essay marks. That's it.
That's very important. So like we've done with substantial part of the mains, but we're left with optional. And as I've heard, your optional was technical, and you took the same optional that was in your graduation. And that's where many of the aspirants are confused. Should they take the same optional which was in their graduation? If they want to change, what should be the factor? So why did you decide to take geology as an optional?
I am BSc, MSc both in zoology. So I had enough and substantial knowledge of my own subject. Plus, I was super interested in biology. So I had I didn't have any excuse to change my optional. Although the syllabus is extensive, the optional is not that scoring, or what are the rumors in the market. But I did not have any excuse to shift my optional. That would have taken extra efforts for me, because I didn't want to take up an optional from for which I have to start from the scratch. The very great advantage that I got was that my BSc, MSc syllabus, not a substantial part of MSc, but most of my BSc syllabus was overlapping with my optional syllabus. So yes, you have to, in my optional particularly, you have to learn a lot, you have to remember a lot. But then again, it was better than taking up an optional for which I have no idea. Because something that I know from the root is much better than what I will take up, then read it superficially for a year, and then write a half-baked answer. Because personally, I believe that when I have studied biology for at least 7 years, from my 11th, 12th, I've been studying biology. And if I take up a subject like sociology for my optional, which is a very famous subject, so that's why I'm taking that example. If I take that subject and I read it for 1 year, what's better? I mean, of course, if I know something for 7 years, I can even attempt a question that I haven't read about. I can at least write some generic points about it, especially in paper 2, which is application based. Then again, science and technology stuff that I kept reading in current affairs, that again complemented my optional also, because many things are going on in zoology, particularly after the COVID. So that was very easy for me. And if I talk about time management also, if I divide my day during my mains preparation, not those 2 months, but before that, if I divide my day into 5 hours for GS and 5 hours for optional, or if you study 8 hours, so 4 hours for GS and optional, so it's great, it's fine for me. It was a fine balance for me. I didn't want to start anything from a scratch.
That's actually good because whenever I'm talking to somebody who has like technical graduation background and then they've shifted to humanities, the main reason they have given is कि you're reading, most of the thing you're reading in JS are humanity based, and if you have taken optional which was technical, then there is no coherence in between the two, and that becomes a problem because then they have to delineate the time and it becomes really difficult because they have to prepare for them differently. They don't actually complement each other, but you have a different view on that. You think that no, even the technical subjects are very complementing if you prepare for the UPSC.
I would like to add something. What UPSC demands in mains is that for GS you have to be generalist, as the word suggests, general studies. But for optional you have to be specialized and it carries substantial marks. 500 marks are given just to optional. And why is it called optional? It could also have been called a general studies 6-7 paper. So if UPSC is demanding specialization, why do you have to go for something that you are simply reading and then writing an exam? If you have expertise on a subject, why not utilize that expertise? Lateral entry is a thing that is trending these days, and in these days you can't talk about generalist everywhere. So that expertise, if you have, I actually took advantage of my expertise because it did not take a lot of effort for me to shift from my GS to optional, because only thing that was different for me was the answer writing practice. In BSc we used to write long answers. Here you have to restrict yourself, and that comes in handy anyways with your GS preparation. And what is the harm if one more subject extra you study? Anyways we are studying so many subjects, but that expertise shows. I mean, if you've studied something for, again I'm repeating, if you're studying something for just like a 7-8 months and then for 7 years or even 3-4 years what your graduation is, it will surely be reflected in the answer that you write. Because even if I take some anthro subject or sociology subject, you cannot write a generic answer. A GS, like whatever you're writing in GS for society, the similar answer you cannot write in your sociology paper. You have to again study sociologists, you have to go deep. So why go deep in a new subject? I'm strongly recommending previous, because no one takes up the subject, and I wanted to be different to take up my own optional.
Indeed, because only few are doing that. That's very important. And one more, like coming back to the last stage of the UPSC, and which is a very important stage as well. And it's very close to aspirant as well. Because throughout the preparation, it is the interview where the personality is directly being challenged and questioned. So how much of preparation plays a role in giving an interview?
So first of all, UPSC interview is called personality test. So the first thing that comes into play is your personality. What I heard, the best line that I heard during my preparation was that don't try to hide your personality. If they want to see your personality, expose it. And the second thing is that what your age is. More than that, the people who are sitting there, they have experience more than your age. So you can't lie, you can't bluff, you can't fudge any facts. So two things that are very important, which are apart from the preparation of the personality test, is that you must not lie and you must expose your true personality. No one is raised badly. We are all good people. So why to hide anything? Even if you say something like, I don't like sports, so they're not going to judge you on that. So, I mean, you have to be natural is the key, because the more lies you speak, the more you have to remember. If I'm telling the truth only, I don't have to remember anything. These are the basic things that you require for the personality test. And now when I talk about the preparation, now there are two things that are absolutely in your hand during your personality test. First is the current affairs and second is your DAF. So current affairs you can be absolutely prepared for, and a strategy for that is, unlike mains, like you write a page long answer or 2 pages long answer in mains, there you have to be even more concise and crisp, because when we talk a lot we talk stupid. So what you should do is current affairs is all, you can anticipate the questions. So when you, like farm laws, very anticipatory, you can think that yes, they can ask you. It was asked also to many people in the interview. So what you can do is, you can take up each topic of current affairs, write it on an A4 sheet paper and write just 3-4 lines on it. First line, you can write the technical aspect of it. Second line, your own opinion, which again cannot be always neutral. Is creating Ram Mandir good or bad? You cannot say both, because you cannot create half temple. So you have to say either yes or either no. So your opinion matters in the personality test, unlike in mains. And second thing, you can think in mains, but interview does not give you that liberty also. So some questions you should be well prepared with, especially the current affairs part, especially the controversial questions, because we end up bringing our own prejudices into play when we are answering a controversial question. So if you go prepared for that, which is not, it's not that you are deceiving the person, you are simply preparing yourself, sitting home and preparing, which will again be your opinion, but you will not take a long time to think, you will not be nervous because you know that it will be asked. Second thing that is in your hand is your DAF. So each word of your DAF and it should become your keyword. Just like we prepare for mains, similarly you can prepare for your personality test, like your name. So Kriti will be a keyword for me. I'll prepare everything related to it, even the personalities who share my name. My birth date will be another keyword. So I'll also be preparing for the personalities who share birthday with me. So that is again in your hand, and each word of your DAF should be a part of your preparation. Now I was lucky enough that my interview was mostly DAF based. I hardly got any current affairs questions. So mostly all my questions were well thought of. I had expected they asking me such a question. So I was all calm during the interview. So I knew, yes, this could have been asked. I had a mild smile and then I answered very confidently. So these two things, if you take up and if you conquer these things, it will give you another confidence boost also. When you are entering the personality test, you will be satisfied that yes, whatever was in my hand was well prepared. Whatever they ask extra, I can simply say I don't know, because we are not Google, we are not Sophia robot. So we are humans. We can or cannot know the factual things. But yes, if your opinion is asked and you say I don't know, that is not acceptable.
Indeed, I agree. And I think throughout the preparation, the most important part is to accept when you don't know. And second important part is to come back when you've committed a mistake.
Absolutely.
Because that happens everywhere. Either you're giving PT, you're giving mains or interview. Accepting the fact that it's not you. Everybody can commit mistake. That's very important in interview as well. Ki what if like a question is asked, you may have given wrong answer, or there is like downside of interview. Like, did you face anything like that? And if that's so, how did you come back?
Fortunately, no. But yes, I was prepared for it, that even if something slips off my tongue or something that I speak wrong or some fact that I did wrong, which happened during my mocks. So I got a good practice of that. So what I thought of was that if I am committing some mistake in the fact, so I can simply apologize, or if I'm not sure about that fact, I'll not mention it only. Even if I wish to mention it because I'm almost sure, 80-90% sure, maybe I can ask for permission to guess. But I would prefer that one should not say any fact if he is not very sure about it. Because fact is one thing that you can forget. It can go off your brain. So those factual questions, I was well prepared. If they ask me something that I absolutely have no idea of, I'll simply say I don't know. Because when you tell a lie, you will have to tell 100 more lies after that. And if you don't accept the fact, like for example, I say something wrong and they are pointing out that no, I think you are wrong. And if I keep on arguing, no, maybe I'm right, and you can't defend yourself, because first of all, age matters. You cannot be disrespectful to such a person of that age. And second, a human has to accept the mistakes. Everyone can commit mistakes, as you said. So that is a natural process of being a human. That you have to remain a human is what is the key.
That's actually very important. And being a human remained a very important question, because this was the entire journey of preparation in terms of pre, mains and everything. But it's the number of years we give. First, second, third year. And it's very important to stay motivated throughout. So many times the time comes we are doubtful whether even we want to continue the journey or not. Like, did that time came to your journey? And if that's so, how did you deal with it?
I had my mentors, my parents, who were extremely supportive of whatever I was doing. Or not just supportive, they believed in me, my capabilities. So it was not just my own self-confidence, but the confidence of all the people around me. My husband was absolutely motivating throughout the journey, and a very beautiful line that he used to say, Kriti, if you do not clear the exam, no one in this country can clear. So this is what kept motivating me all the time. My mom, even when I was sad or depressed, I was in the library, I was roaming in ORN, and I used to call up my mom and say, am I even worth it, mom? And she was like, come on, I know you. You are my daughter. How is it not? I mean, you have to do it. It's you. It's meant for you. So all these things motivated me. Plus, one very important factor is if there is an external influence, like someone is motivating me, it can last for 2 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years. But what I would like to say is that when that fire is from within, what we say junoon, if that is from within, no one can stop you. Today, even if you're not confident about yourself, it will come back the next morning. Because there was just one target that, and even my mentor used to say, कि तुझे और करना क्या जीवन में? पढ़ना ही तो है, पढ़ ले, is what he used to say always. So in the morning when you wake up and you are like, okay, I'm not preparing, then what else to do? So yes, it was my motivation from within that yes, it is, I have to do it. Maybe today, tomorrow, day after. I was even prepared for not getting into the list this time. And I was like, I still have 2 attempts left. That is what I was saying to my family also. When they were asking, okay, what if something goes downhill? So I was like, that's fine. I still have 2 attempts left. Because at this stage, I cannot quit. This is not even logical that I've given 4 years of my life. So quitting at this time was not an option for me. So when you don't have an option, you have to do it.
That actually very important question I want to ask is, it's nice to prepare for UPSC, but it's very important to realize that this is just an exam. That you have other, like you have other options as well, and you can do. And nowadays there are some stories as well when aspirants are taking steps they should not have done. So like, is it important, like, or is it practical that one should do, that they should have a plan B in mind? Did you have plan B?
When I said that this is the option I had, this was what my heart and my brain said to myself. But coming on the substantial ground also, yes, we hear stuff like, be dedicated, that is all fine. But the competition is such that, and the success rate is so low, not just for UPSC, for any competitive exam in the country, that you cannot keep sitting, you cannot sit and rely on one thing only. So, if you talk about me, yes, I had a plan B because I qualified my NET JRF, so I was eligible for assistant professor. I also appeared for the MPPSC in 2018 and I was waiting for my call letter. So, I had a plan B in mind, and I would like to also highlight and strongly say that UPSC Civil Services exam itself says I am an exam. Right. I am not your life. Right. So your life is much more important than a simple exam. UPSC just tests the suitability of candidates, and sometimes even it can have those positive falses and negative falses. A person who is not even eligible can get into the service, and some people can be left out. It's 100% if you are talking about UPSC. So 99% is your hard work, but still 1% is your luck factor that you can attribute to anything. You can be unwell one day before the exam, so you cannot control that factor. So a person must be, again, UPSC itself teaches you to be balanced. So you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. It is okay to have a plan B, but talking to those who do not want to have plan B because they have some apprehensions that maybe we'll be distracted and stuff, that is also perfectly fine. For the initial 2-3 years, you can sit, prepare, and simply not have any plan B, because your country gives you ample opportunity to flourish. Even if for 2-3 years you simply sit down and prepare for the exam with no plan B, that is also perfectly okay. But at some point of time, you realize that even if you don't get into the exam, you have other doors open for you. Don't think the life is closed for you. It's many people leave the service also. So it's not the ultimate destination, and it is not your only destiny. There are many other things that you can do.
That's actually very important. And coming to life and destination is being a woman. It's challenging to prepare even. Give 4 years of your life, and sometimes family or relatives start talking about, you're a woman now, settle somewhere, and you're married as well. So the question arises, did you face problem like that? Being a woman, it brought you different kind of challenges, or the marriage was a choice, or like parents ask you?
No, my parents kept me absolutely shielded from any sort of societal pressure. Maybe they were handling all of that, and maybe they were all pressurized, but they didn't let that pressure come to me. all my parents wanted was that I follow my and their dreams, and I get to a point where I can be satisfied with myself. If not with my rank or my, at least I should be satisfied with my own performance and my, even if I hadn't got this year, or even if I hadn't got into service, if I'm satisfied that yes, I gave my 100% and this is not, more than this I could not have given, that is also a sort of satisfaction. So my parents were waiting for the day, this day, when I am myself satisfied. Because every year after the exam, I used to say, oh, this was left out. Oh, I left out this. So my parents were like, the day you're absolutely satisfied with your attempt and your performance, that will be the day you stop. Otherwise, we are with you. If I talk about the other relatives, so I would like to strongly say that if your relatives are not supportive, you simply stay away from them. And if your friends are not supportive, stay away from them. Yes, criticism is important, but constructive criticism. A person cannot go shouting around you, you cannot do it without any proof. If you are going somewhere wrong, if you're not studying and simply befooling people that I'm preparing, that is a point when your friends can say that, what are you doing? Or your relatives can say, what are you doing? But just to pull you down if someone is demotivating you, simply make distance. And one thing I would like to say that I left social media, and for 4 years I was not on any social media, which was surprising for all my friends. But if you think it is distracting for you, or it demotivates you because you see people getting into jobs or people starting some entrepreneurship, so if you think that demotivates you, simply leave it. Because during the preparation, it's not just preparation, it is tapasya. So in tapasya, you can leave whatever you wish to. This is in your hand. Later in life, you can bring that life balance, which will be required again. Now, I also will have to balance my professional and personal life. But during preparation, you can absolutely take that liberty of leaving something and then rejoining it later. So that is what I did.
Yeah, that's actually very important. And with that, there is one last concluding question I'm asking you, and you're an ideal candidate to ask. Having given 3 exams and not being even able to clear pre, and just like 2 days or 1 day ago, we have got many people have given exam and some are not expecting to go like write mains. What is the one motivating thing you want to tell them so that they can get through this journey, that will make it easy?
Just one line you should have in your mind: I can do it. That's it. That's self-confidence when you have in your capability, in your hard work. Nothing can stop you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming here, and it has been a good journey with you through preparation, and right now I wish you well in services as well. Really, thank you.
Thank you so much.